Welcome back, everyone. We're jumping right into The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani today.
Yes.
Really want to dig into this one.
Oh, yeah. This was a good one.
Yeah, we're going to make you smart quickly with, we'll pull out the wisdom from this book. If you want the full picture, of course, check the episode description. We've got study notes you can download and a link to the audiobook if you want to dive deeper into this.
Yeah.
And, of course, hit that like button and share this with a friend. So Lakhiani, right away, it kind of lays out this idea of these Brules, he calls them.
Oh, yeah.
Which is short for bullshit rules.
Yeah. He kind of goes after some of those big societal norms that we all just kind of blindly accept sometimes.
Yeah, like what are some of the ones that come to mind for you when you think about that?
Well, right off the bat, he talks about the 9 to 5, that grind. And then religious dogma, being strictly adhering to religious principles. And even things like marrying within your ethnicity.
Correct.
And then the whole idea that a college degree is the only path to success.
So he's really going after some of this kind of core societal norms. But I guess why? What's the harm in kind of following those norms?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's not necessarily about rejecting everything outright. It's more about encouraging us to think critically about these things and to ask ourselves, do these rules actually serve us? Do they align with our values and goals? Or are they just something that we've accepted without really questioning them?
So for example, he has the hard labor rule.
Right.
Which is, the idea that you have to work really hard at a job you hate in order to achieve success.
Yeah. Is grinding away at a soul-crushing job really the only way to achieve success? I mean, what if success means something completely different to you, something more aligned with your passions and your purpose?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people struggle with that because it's those are the messages we kind of get fed growing up. It's you gotta go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and work hard.
Right. It's like we're on autopilot following this pre-programmed set of rules without ever stopping to think, are these actually taking me where I want to go?
Yeah, are they actually serving me?
Exactly. And that's where questioning the rules can be so powerful. It opens up all these possibilities that we might not have even considered before.
I like that.
It allows us to define success on our own terms.
It's like taking control of the steering wheel, instead of just being on that track.
Yeah, it's like you're driving the car now.
Yeah.
You get to choose where you're going.
What about you? Have you come across any rules in your own life that you felt were outdated or maybe even harmful?
Oh, absolutely. I think we all have. I remember when...
Hold that thought. Actually, this is a great time to get our listeners involved. What's a rule that you've encountered that you think needs a serious update? Leave your answer in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Now back to your story.
Right. So I remember, it's interesting, though, he challenges these societal norms, but he also offers a framework for replacing them with something more empowering. So he introduces this idea of holding two visions in mind, like striving for a remarkable future, while also finding genuine joy in the present moment.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just about tearing down those rules and living in a state of rebellion. It's actually about building something better in their place.
Exactly. It's about embracing a dual reality.
Right.
So on one hand, we have our big ambitious goals, our vision for the future that we want to create. But on the other hand, we have the present moment, the everyday experiences that make up our lives. Mm-hmm. And Lakhiani argues that true happiness comes from finding that balance between those two realities.
Yeah, it's like walking a tightrope between, ambition and contentment. Does he give any practical steps for how we can actually achieve that balance?
He does. And this is where things get really interesting. He introduces this concept of conscious engineering, which is basically intentionally designing our lives to be aligned with our values and our aspirations. And he breaks it down into 12 key areas of life.
Whoa.
Everything from our relationships and personal growth to our sense of adventure and contribution to the world.
Okay, so 12 areas. That's pretty comprehensive. That's a lot to think about. I imagine it could also feel a bit overwhelming. Where do you even begin with something like that?
Yeah, well, he emphasizes that it's not about trying to tackle all 12 areas at once. It's about starting with the areas that resonate most strongly with you.
Okay.
So maybe you're feeling stuck in your career and you crave more meaning and purpose, or maybe you're longing for deeper connections in your relationships. The key is to start with the area where you feel the most dissonance between your current reality and your desired future.
Got it. So it's about kind of being strategic and focusing our energy where it will have the biggest impact. What about happiness itself? Can we actually engineer happiness? I feel like happiness is something that's more spontaneous, more elusive.
That's a great question. And Lakhiani actually addresses that directly with his concept of blissipline.
Discipline.
Yeah, I know it sounds kind of like a made-up word, but it actually captures a really profound idea. It's the practice of intentionally cultivating happiness in our everyday lives.
Okay, so how do we put discipline into practice? Are we talking about positive affirmations, gratitude journals, or is it something else?
It's actually a combination of practices, and he breaks it down into three core components: gratitude, acceptance,
Right.
and giving.
Gratitude and giving those make sense. We've all heard about the power of those practices, but acceptance, how does acceptance factor into happiness?
Well, acceptance isn't about like passively resigning ourselves to a situation that we don't like. It's about acknowledging the reality of our present circumstances, the good and the bad, without letting negativity or resentment cloud our perspective.
I see.
It's about recognizing that even challenging experiences can offer valuable lessons and opportunities for growth.
So it's about kind of shifting our focus from what's wrong to what we can learn and how we can grow from those experiences.
Exactly. It's about finding the silver lining, the hidden gift, even in those moments that feel difficult or painful. And when we can cultivate that sense of acceptance, it frees up our energy to focus on the things that we can control, the actions that we can take to create a more fulfilling and joyful life.
Right. It's like choosing to focus on the light instead of getting bogged down in the shadows.
Exactly. And what's interesting is Lakhiani doesn't just talk about these concepts in a theoretical sense. He actually shares personal anecdotes and examples from his own life, which makes it all the more relatable and inspiring. Like, he talks about how he used the principles of discipline to overcome some major challenges in his own life, like the loss of his father, and to create a life that is filled with joy and purpose and abundance.
Wow. So he's not just preaching from a mountaintop. He's actually walking the walk himself.
Exactly. And that authenticity really shines through in his writing. He's not afraid to be vulnerable to share his own struggles and triumphs, which makes his message all the more powerful. It's like he's saying, look, I've been through some tough times, but these principles have helped me create a life that I love, and if it worked for me, it can work for you too.
Yeah, that's encouraging. It's like having a guide who's already navigated the terrain and is willing to share the map. Speaking of navigating, there's a concept he introduces that really resonated with me, this distinction between end goals and means goals. And I think this is where a lot of us get tripped up.
Absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in chasing those means goals, the things that we think we need to achieve in order to be happy or successful. But Lakhiani argues that those means goals are often based on those rules that we were talking about earlier. They're external markers of success that may not actually align with our true values or desires.
Yeah, it's like we're on a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Running and running, but not actually getting anywhere closer to what truly matters.
Exactly. We think that if we just get that promotion, buy that fancy car, or achieve a certain level of status, then we'll be happy. But those are just means to an end. They're not the end goal itself.
Right. So how do we shift our focus from those means goals to the end goals that truly matter?
It starts with identifying what truly brings us joy and fulfillment. What are those activities, those experiences, those relationships that light us up and make us feel truly alive? Maybe it's traveling the world, spending quality time with loved ones, pursuing a creative passion, or making a positive impact on our community.
Yeah, and I think the key difference there is that those end goals are driven by intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
They're not about external validation or societal expectations. It's about what truly matters to us.
Exactly. And when we focus on those end goals, the means goals naturally fall into place. We start making choices that are aligned with our values, and we find ourselves effortlessly moving towards a life that feels authentic and fulfilling.
So we've talked about embracing a dual reality, consciously engineering our lives, cultivating discipline, and understanding the difference between end goals and means goals. That's a lot to unpack. But Lakhiani doesn't stop there. He introduces this idea of becoming unfuckwithable. Now, I know that sounds a bit provocative, but bear with me.
Yeah, it's actually a brilliant concept, and it ties back to everything we've been talking about. He describes it as a state of being where you're so grounded in your values, so clear about your purpose, and so resilient in the face of challenges that nothing can derail you from your path.
So it's about developing like a deep sense of inner strength and self-reliance.
Exactly. It's about becoming the author of your own story, the captain of your own ship. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose your response to any situation, no matter how challenging it may be.
It's like developing that internal compass that always points you in the right direction, regardless of the external storms that may come your way.
Precisely. And Lakhiani provides a set of practical tools and techniques for cultivating this unfuckwittable state of being. He talks about the importance of setting clear boundaries, learning to say no, and surrounding yourself with a supportive tribe of people who believe in you and your vision.
So it's not just about mental toughness. It's also about creating a supportive environment that allows you to thrive.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we're not meant to go it alone. We need a community, a tribe to support us on our journey. And one of the key aspects of this unfuckwithable state of being is the ability to connect with our purpose. Our calling, Lakhiani, believes that each of us has a unique set of gifts and talents that we're meant to share with the world.
Oh, I like that. So it's not just about personal fulfillment. It's also about making a meaningful contribution to something larger than ourselves.
Exactly. And Lakhiani provides this really simple but profound framework for discovering and pursuing our calling. He calls it the 3 most important questions.
Yeah, I'm all ears. What are the questions?
The first question is, what do you want to do in this life? It's about identifying your passions, your interests, the activities that light you up and make you feel truly alive.
So getting clear on what brings us joy and fulfillment. What's the second question?
The second question is, how do you want to grow? This is about embracing a growth mindset, about continually challenging yourself to learn, evolve, and expand your horizons.
So recognizing that we're not static beings, we're constantly evolving and growing. What's the final question?
The third question is, how do you want to contribute? This is about finding ways to use your unique gifts and talents to make a positive impact on the world, to leave a legacy that extends beyond yourself.
I love it. So it's about aligning our actions with our values, our passions, and our desire to make a difference.
Precisely. And when we can answer those 3 questions with clarity and conviction, we unlock a level of purpose and fulfillment that's truly extraordinary.
This has been such a rich and insightful conversation. But I know we're just scratching the surface of what Lakhiani covers in the Code of the Extraordinary Mind. I'm curious to hear what else you found compelling in the book.
There's one concept in particular that I found quite fascinating and potentially transformative. It's Lakhiani's idea of bending reality.
Bending reality. Okay, that sounds kind of out there. What's he talking about?
It's not about, literally bending spoons with your mind or anything like that, but it's more about recognizing the power that our thoughts and beliefs have in shaping our reality. It's kind of like aligning yourself with the flow of the universe, where things seem to effortlessly fall into place.
Oh, so it's more about shifting our perspective and aligning our intentions with our desires.
Exactly. It's about cultivating this mindset of possibility, believing that we can achieve anything we set our minds to. And when we combine that belief with focused action, amazing things can happen. Opportunities appear, resources become available, and the path forward seems to unfold naturally.
So it's like tapping into this hidden power, this universal force that supports us when we're aligned with our true purpose.
Precisely. And Lakhiani actually provides a specific technique for cultivating this bending reality state of mind. He calls it the 6-phase meditation.
Oh, I love a good meditation technique.
Yeah.
What are the 6 phases?
It's a guided meditation that takes you through this beautiful progression of states. It starts with compassion, cultivating a sense of love and kindness towards yourself and others.
Okay.
Then it moves into gratitude, reflecting on all the blessings in your life.
So starting with a heart full of love and gratitude, that's a powerful foundation. What comes next?
The third phase is forgiveness. It's about releasing any resentment, anger, or hurt that you might be holding on to, creating space for peace and healing.
Yeah, forgiveness can be challenging, but I can see how it would be essential for aligning with this bending reality mindset.
Sure.
What are the final 3 phases?
So from there, you move into visualizing your future vision, creating a vivid mental picture of the life you want to create, the goals you want to achieve. Then you immerse yourself in the perfect day, imagining your ideal day in rich detail from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep.
Wow, that's powerful. It's like a mental rehearsal for creating the life you desire.
Exactly. And finally, you end with blessing, sending out positive energy to the world, to your loved ones, to all beings.
So it's like a complete journey, starting with self-love and then expanding outward to encompass the entire world.
It's a beautiful practice and one that he recommends doing daily, ideally first thing in the morning, to set the tone for the day.
That's a great way to start the day. Aligning yourself with that bending reality mindset and inviting in all the good things the universe has to offer.
Yeah.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's worth noting that some people might find Lakhiani's ideas a bit out there, maybe a little too optimistic.
Yeah, that's fair. He definitely challenges conventional thinking, and he pushes us to embrace a more expansive view of what's possible. But even if you don't buy into every single concept that he presents, I think there's a lot of value to be found in his core message. which is that we have the power to create a life that is extraordinary in every sense of the word.
Absolutely. The Code of the Extraordinary Mind is a powerful invitation to question our limiting beliefs, to embrace our potential, and take action towards creating a life that's truly aligned with our deepest desires and values.
And in a world that often feels filled with limitations and challenges, that's a message worth paying attention to.
Couldn't agree more?
Mm.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the Code of the Extraordinary Mind. Hope you enjoyed this journey and that you gleaned some valuable insights along the way. Remember to check the episode description for those downloadable study notes and the link to the audiobook if you want to dive deeper into this. And of course, hit that like button and share this with a friend who's ready to rewrite their own code and create a life that is truly extraordinary. Until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, and keep diving deep.